Sideline Squib. It's a long time coming. Steve, Andrew, what say you? This is the sideline, huh? Funny, it's my time then. Put me in right now then. Squib, boy. This is the sideline, huh? Funny, it's my time then. Put me in right now then. Squib, boy. This is the Squib, info stick up to your ribs. Chips be coming with that dip. Go ahead, put it to your lips. My oh my, that is delish. Victory gon' taste like this. Y'all bought that big old boat, but these boys built you a bridge. Sit down and take notes. If you want you a trophy.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sideline Squib. I'm your host, Steve Silvestri, back with special guests. We have Abe from the DFS docket himself, the DFS detective. He runs all sorts of redraft and DFS information for you on the other side of the Sideline Squib. And joining us from the other side, Bret at 1T Bret, bringing us an inspiring podcaster and one of the best professions out there, in my opinion. Open 24 hours. Bret, how you doing, man?
Awesome, guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. Can't wait to get you in as well. We got some good topics on board. Abe, I hear you lingering in the background. What's going on with you, sir?
Man, I can't believe you're it's like 8 p.m. Eastern, and normally when I'm with you guys, I have to take 3 coffees and pop a whole bunch of pills just to stay awake because it's normally 11:30 at night for me. This is a joy. My kids aren't even asleep yet, bro.
I know we're doing super early and on a Sunday.
I fully expect at some point my wife to come down here and just be like, "Get the hell out of here and go take care of the kids." It's not a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when.
Hey, but that's the fun thing about this. We don't do this for a paycheck. We do this for fun. So if you got to get off and take care of your kids, well, that's going to seem to be what it is for you for the night. So, Bret, tell us a little bit about yourself. Talking a little bit off air and everything. You wanted to become a podcaster. You're a comedian on the side. That has to be full of just entertainment itself. And in my profession, or in my opinion, your profession is my favorite. Working at a bar, no matter what you do, is by far the best. I did that for a short time in my life, and I absolutely loved it. So tell us what got you into it? What brought you into the comedian? What got you into the light? I mean, you're like your stand says, open 24 hours. You are nonstop content on Twitter and on social media. So tell the people a little bit, what do you love most about it? What got you into it?
All right. Well, my name's Bret. I'm from Philly, born and raised. Been watching sports my whole life. When I was a kid, Mike Schmidt and Randall Cunningham were the leaders of the teams back then. So for about 30, 40 years now, I've been watching Philly sports, all the ups and downs, finally won some championships. So got that off my back. Now I can die happy, right? So I've been working at a bar just to pay the bills. And I started hanging at the bar. They offered me a job because I was cooking. Started cooking at the bar, moved up to bartender. And hanging at the bar was cool. Working at the bar was actually better because now I get to make some money too. And bust balls from busting balls at the bar. Started doing stand-up comedy. That's kind of just my passion right now, but I'm not making any money off that yet. If that ever happens, that'd be cool. If not, it's just a fun thing to do on the side. Go on stage, bust balls just like I was doing at the bar pretty much.
You can't beat that. It's all about hobbies.
Speaking of busting balls, you should probably go to manscaped.com for clean busted balls and use the promo code DOCKET for 20% off and free shipping.
I need one for my face and my balls.
Well, yeah. I wouldn't recommend using the same one.
Yeah, do not use the same one for your downstairs. But no, that is absolutely awesome. I know when I worked at a bar, pretty much the same thing. Started in the kitchen, worked the bar, ended up being a bar manager out in Pittsburgh when I went to college out there, and it was awesome. You meet so many people. And the conversations you have is insane. The etiquette is just out far and beyond, no matter who you're talking to, and to be a good bartender. And again, in my opinion, as a drinker, you don't order a drink. If someone's sitting at the bar, you don't order a drink. The bartender gives you a drink because you're ready for one, and that's what's awesome. You build those relationships through little knickknacks that you learn through bars and through the atmosphere and the environment. And that's what I absolutely love. I mean, I don't know if it's because I loved it because I was a drinker also and I knew what I liked, or for the simple fact that, it's just like this. And like you said, you're taking what you do for a living and turn that into a hobby which is absolutely awesome. And more power
Right.
to you. I hope that goes, and I hope you can get some more gigs going to where you can actually get a little coin in your pocket and turn around and put it right back into the bar.
Yeah, that'd be
afterwards.
awesome. And it started as a hobby to begin with, was drinking, turned into a profession back into that. So it's cool. Yeah. And my bar is cool because there's people that come in. I don't even know their names, half of them, but I know what they drink. They'll come in, I'll get their Miller Lite Ready or whatever the hell it is. Like I know them right away what they drink before I even sometimes know their names.
That's awesome.
But,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Abe, now that you're awake with us, on a Sunday night, not Saturday, what's going on? How have you been? The docket just hit off last Wednesday with guest Troy King, I believe.
Yeah, we had Troy on this week. Troy's the man. Troy's my guy. I mean, I've been so grateful to have just an all-star cast of guests. We had obviously Chris Beastie, who's on. He's like one of us already. We had Dave Kluge. We had Steffi Smalls. We got Matt Donnelly from the Dynasty Vipers coming on this week. We got the Majuk girls. They're coming on in a couple weeks.
Ball Blast.
I mean, I've been the Ball Blast crew. Yep, I had Dave Mendelson on a couple weeks ago. Like, I've been so grateful for the people that I've reached out to, and they've said yes. And then, honestly, this week was the highlight of my entire fantasy football life when Andy Holloway followed me. I'm like, bro, I have to go back every 15 minutes and make sure he doesn't hit the unfollow button.
It wasn't like an accidental click.
Yeah.
And just make sure, just check it out. Make sure it's not an accidental. No, that's awesome. Man.
Yeah, 100.
It's a great follow to start with there. No, but I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about this upcoming. I mean, it is April 12th-ish? I don't even know what day it is anymore. But we're coming up on the draft. We're a couple weeks away. 2 weeks away, 2.5 weeks away. And there's so much movement already, so many talks. This is the time of the season when the chatter begins, whether it's all smoke and mirrors, whether it's, people trying to feel out other contenders and who's interested in who. I mean, obviously, Abe being a Jets fan, there's a lot of movement that happened around your team this past couple weeks. What's your take on Sam Darnold trade and everything like that went down? Give us your take more as a Jets follower, as a fan, before someone who talks fantasy, and what you like, both sides, what you like from the Jets or don't like from the Jets, what you like from the Panthers, don't like from the Panthers there.
Well, here's what the great Joe Douglas did.
Great success.
Because it was an absolute great success for that move. Listen, I've been very public about this. Sam Darnold, I think, has the potential to be a Pro Bowl quarterback in this league, but it 100% was not with the New York Jets. Look, if you're living with a companion and you guys break up for whatever reason, if you go back to that house, you just feel the same. You need something new going on with your life, right? And that's the exact situation with Sam Darnold. He cannot have stayed in New York any longer, right? Even if Robert Saleh and the Kyle Shanahan offense, Michael LaFleur, even if they were able to fix him, mentally, the New York Jets broke him, and he had to leave out of New York and go somewhere else. And Carolina is the perfect spot for him, honestly, because 2 years ago when Matt Rule was up for the Jets job and he turned it down, he wanted that job for the sole purpose of working with Sam Darnold. That was his guy he wanted to mentor. So bringing him in to what they probably see as, look, we can get a potential Pro Bowl quarterback, which is what I believe Sam has the ability to do, minus, a boatload of turnovers. But besides that, they see the potential in him. And if you're only giving up a 2, a 4, and a 6 over the course of the next 2 years, that's really not a tremendous amount. For the Jets, on the other hand, for Joe Douglas, getting a 2, a 4, whatever about the 6, but really the 2 next year, that's a huge win for a guy that you didn't want to be there anyway. Look, if Sam Darnold stays and the Jets win 6 games, right? What do you do with him then? Because now you're not a bottom feeder. You're not picking in the top 3 again.
Stuck right in the middle.
The ability, you're in quarterback and NFL purgatory. You're going to be stuck with Sam Darnold. And what do? Do you pick up his 5th-year option? Probably not, because he's not good enough to do so. So now you're stuck with absolutely nobody, probably picking around 10th without the real option of a top-level quarterback. I happen to absolutely love Zach Wilson. I've been saying it long before he was rumored to go to the Jets. I've been a Zach Wilson truther through and through, and I think they're going to take him, and they're going to succeed with him. So now you're going to get the 2nd-round pick from the Panthers next year. You have the 4th next year. The 6th round pick this year means absolutely nothing. But it's one of these rare trades that really everybody wins. Like, we all grade trades right away, right? We do it with NFL teams. We do it with our own fantasy teams, right? We grade because everybody needs a grade right away, right? We all do it. We need to grade this trade immediately. And it's very rare that everybody looking around at the trade goes, you know what? I like it from both sides. Everybody really came out winning on both ends of this trade.
So here's a question for you and a thought. There hasn't been much chatter, or at least not reported chatter, about anyone trying to jump up to that number 2 spot. I mean, we're all assuming Trevor Lawrence is gone at this point. Do you think the limited chatter or the limited communication that teams want to move up to 2, at least flirt with the option to talk to the Jets? Do you think the Jets do you think teams, I guess, are confirmed, locked in that the Jets and Zach Wilson are a fit? Or do you believe by any chance that the Jets are kind of scared now because no one is even trying to come up to get Zach Wilson?
No one's been trying to get up for Trevor Lawrence either, because it's kind of like a foregone conclusion. That's who Jacksonville's going to take. I think the Jets are so sold on Zach Wilson that it's not even a question. What are you going to offer if a team sees their quarterback of the future? What are you going to offer to them? Hey, let me give you if you're Carolina before this Darnold trade, let me give you 8 and 2 1s going forward for next year. No, because I don't know what those ones are going to turn into, right? I don't know what I can still get at 8. I can't get a franchise quarterback at 8. So yeah, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna take my guy, and yeah, maybe I can't get a few more higher end pieces around him over the next couple of years, but you're not going to win in the league if you don't have that upper level quarterback anyway, especially on a rookie contract.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I just wanted to throw that little option out there because that came up in, I forget what I was listening to, and that kind of came up. Might have been a blurb option while I was watching the Masters.
Yeah, like all day. Let's go.
All right, so let's go to the other side then. Panthers. We had talked about the Joe Brady connection and Matt Rule. I think you also get Sam Darnold kind of back with Robbie Anderson also. So you have Robbie Anderson with Matt Rule, and now you have Robbie Anderson with Sam Darnold with his tenure with the Jets. So there's a lot of good things happening there. I mean, we still have CMC obviously in Carolina. So anything that needs to happen, you can just dump it off to him and let him go. He's going to get you 2 yards, 3 yards every play. So
DJ Moore is going to eat this year. Everyone wants to talk about like Robbie Anderson and that connection was already there with him and Sam Darnold. Bro, DJ Moore is the best athlete that Sam Darnold has ever had as a wide receiver. Obviously McCaffrey, I mean, that dude's a freak by himself, but from the wide receiver position, Robbie Anderson's the best he's ever had up until this point. And I think everybody's on the same page where if you can use Robbie Anderson kind of as that X receiver and just let him run those goes and take the top off, get that safety out of there, DJ Moore can be elite. And if Sam Darnold has any time whatsoever and doesn't throw to middle linebackers in the middle of the field because he doesn't see them, I mean, DJ Moore can have just an absolute star-studded season.
Yep. But remember, we talk about this almost every episode. I feel like on the show, in Dynasty and in fantasy football, what do we do? Or at least on the sideline squib, what do we do is we attack the NFC South because their defenses suck. So I am looking forward to seeing what Sam Darnold and DJ Moore, don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to see what all of them can do. Now, that was one. Go ahead.
Sorry. So Sam Darnold definitely has the best weapons that he's ever had. And more importantly, has a coach that knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And he's going to open it up. He's going to open up the offensive playbook. He's going to obviously, I think, going to wean him back in. I mean, they already picked up his next year option.
McCaffrey's going to hold an extra guy in the box. Like, he had no chance on the Jets. Darnold, he might be good, he might not be, I don't know, but he had actually no chance to succeed on the Jets. I agree with Abe about that. Like,
yeah, being a top tier talent and a top quarterback pick coming out of his class, now going to an offense that he has weapons, a coach that'll let him grow a little bit. They're showing him confidence already by picking up that year before that second year before he even reports. So there's a lot of good things that can hopefully get that,
Brett, I don't know if you know this or not. I was actually a little late to our recording. I was on the phone with Teddy Bridgewater. I recorded the conversation. I have a little snippet here if you want to hear it.
Oh, hell no! Oh, hell no.
Nope.
I mean,
That's what he's feeling about this trade.
people said the same thing about Bridgewater last year too. Honestly, when he went to Carolina, but I think Darnold's a little bit better than Bridgewater. And then,
Yeah.
with the new coaches and new weapons he got, I think he's at least going to be an average quarterback at best to hold him over until they get somebody else. But here's a question for you. You were talking about the Jets at number 2 taking Wilson. Are we sure that Zach Wilson is better than Justin Fields?
I do.
I don't.
I do. I look. There's a lot of people out there that are Justin Fields over Zach Wilson. I know I'm probably in the minority that chooses Zach Wilson over Justin Fields, and a lot of the argument that I'm hearing, and if you guys have a different argument, go for it. But a lot of the argument I hear is Zach Wilson played nobody. Justin Fields went up against his great competition and dominated. You know what? I also saw Justin Fields throw left-handed against Indiana as he was getting sacked, and I saw Justin Fields, make some real poor decisions. Here's what I think of Justin Fields. I'm not saying Justin Fields is a bad player. I have him as my QB3. But to me, Justin Fields is a smaller version of Cam Newton. And we've seen what Cam Newton has kind of turned into 10 years into the league. So when we're asking, it's two separate questions.
Gabe, Abe. I keep saying Gabe for some reason. But you're talking 10 years into the league. Look what he did in his prime. Look what he did.
Okay, but that's fine. But here's the thing. I'm not saying Justin Fields is going to be a bad player. And from a fantasy perspective, I'll take Justin Fields over Zach Wilson, assuming Justin Fields goes to San Francisco, and that's a whole other argument in itself. But if Justin Fields is in San Francisco and Zach Wilson is with the Jets, I would take Justin Fields from a fantasy perspective. But when you're looking at drafting a quarterback for an NFL team, you're looking at who can I trust? Which of these guys do I think can lead my team for the next 12 to 15 years? And a lot of running quarterbacks, after 4 or 5 years tops, they lose that step. They take an extra couple of big hits. They crack a couple ribs or two, and now all of a sudden they're not running as much. And that's what happened to Cam, right? Cam has never been the same since his rollover car accident, right? And that was the year that he won the MVP. Ever since that point, he's never been the same. When he fumbled the ball against the Broncos in the Super Bowl and didn't jump on it and let Von Miller just take it, everyone realized it. Right. So, and he's never been the same player since. Once you lose that step, what kind of quarterback are you? So I'd rather take the guy in Zach Wilson, who I think can be more of a pocket passer when needed. He's still a super freak athlete, but more of a pocket passer when needed for the NFL purposes of a 12 to 15 year project.
Yeah. So Brett brings up an awesome question here for us because you and I are on different sides, and I would love to hear, Brett, here in a second, what side you're on. But, Abe, if you're looking at it now, who is the better athlete? Who is the better quarterback right now to lead your team for the next 3-year window? Are you taking Zach Wilson or Justin Fields?
From a NFL quarterback standpoint, I'd probably still take Zach Wilson.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because fantasy is different. Because the Jets don't have pieces around Zach Wilson. And I don't think year 1 or year 2, Zach Wilson can necessarily be the guy that takes them over the top from a fantasy perspective, right? Where I think Justin Fields has the guys around him, has the Ayuk, has the Debo, has the George Kittle, guys where he doesn't have to do much to be a productive fantasy quarterback, right? But you see Zach Wilson last year. You see he's 3rd in the nation in yards passed, which means he's slinging it around, right? But he's not some gunslinger that just is Jameis Winston with the ball. The guy threw 3 interceptions. So he's very accurate and a very talented passer. We all saw the pro day. And the pro days, to me, when the quarterbacks are passing means very little, right?
Yes.
When they're now, but only when they're passing well. If they're passing poorly, then it says a lot. But if they're passing well in a pro day, it means very little to me. We all saw his big throws. But in actual games last year, I mean, he's on the money. He's making I'm not comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. So don't give me this, but he's got a similar style of play. When I compare Justin Fields to Cam Newton, I'm not saying that Justin Fields is going to be an MVP one day. And when I say Zach Wilson can be Patrick Mahomes, I'm not saying Zach Wilson's going to even come in the same stratosphere as Patrick Mahomes. But in terms of style of play is where they're very similar.
Yeah, fantasy and NFL are two way different things if we're talking about that. NFL, I agree with you. Zach Wilson's definitely going to be a better quarterback. But for fantasy, I would actually take Trey Lance if he lands in a good spot. Like Trey Lance with Atlanta, maybe. I'll take that over either one of those guys for fantasy. Zach Wilson at the Jets or for sure.
Trey Lance.
Yeah, for dynasty, yeah.
See, so how I look at it is most teams now, look at the talent. Just over the last, let's call it 10 years, all right? There has been more and more better and better players coming out. These young student athletes are, there's so much more developed. There's so much more technology out there into the game. You're not going to find another Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. I mean, we thought we had the next closest thing in Andrew Luck, and look what happened.
Yeah, not many quarterbers last for 12 or 15 years anymore, whether they're running quarterbacks or not.
Yeah, so to me, a lot of the arguments that I'm hearing, and I call it an argument, it's more of a debate. I think we had this conversation before. No one's right, no one's wrong in this way because, again, none of us are professionals, and it's all opinionated at this point. But for me personally, if I'm looking at Zach Wilson, my thoughts of everything I'm hearing from people, plus the work that I put in, is he is a player that is very talented for what he showed us in the independent BYU football schedule and football team where they faced off against some very suspect teams, but he
made
proved
some
that
good throws.
But he proved that he has the mechanics. He proves that he has the talent and the arm strength and everything you need, that moxie to be an NFL quarterback. I don't know about his leadership. I didn't get that far into it yet. But for me, I'm still leaning Justin Fields just based off of pure level of competition, similar statistics, similar attributes as a quarterback in a sense with a little bit more running style. And I think if you're a team that wants to win a Super Bowl within the next 5 years, then you're going to go with Justin Fields, because if it doesn't work out in 5 years, there's going to be another realm. And I'm saying 5 years as a span. I mean, look what just happened with Carson Wentz and potentially, Jalen Hurts. And we'll get to that in a second, because you're from the Metro Philly area or Center City, wherever you're at there. So, to me, I'm going Justin Fields over Zach Wilson, and that's just for mirror that you can build around that. Again, I think there is a little bit more optimism when it comes to play calling. You need an offensive coordinator that fits that scheme. You need certain players and teammates that also fit that player personality and that player type. But Brett, let's hear your side of things. I mean, you brought up the question, awesome question, because it's going to be one that's going to happen up until the 29th, when we see those two get drafted. So what side are you on for NFL standards right now? If you were the Jets, who are you taking?
If I'm the Jets, I'm trading that pick as far back as I can possibly still get a quarterback. Trade back to 6 or whatever, where you can still maybe nab even like Mac Jones or something. I like Justin Fields. I like Zach Wilson. I'm not saying Mac Jones is in the same class as him, but if you could pick up an extra first-round pick next year and another second this year, anything like that, just move back a couple spots. I don't know if in 5 years, pocket passers are still even going to exist in the NFL the way the league is going.
So who would be the perfect fit for the Jets? Kyle Trask.
Okay. All right.
Just a shitty quarterback on a shitty team.
Just tank another year.
Oh no, but no, great sides there with the Sam Darnold and everyone moving back. We're on the topic of quarterbacks, so we might as well stay there at this point. We talked about the trades with Sam Darnold. We talked about the potential of the level of quarterbacks that we like in Justin Fields and in Zach Wilson. Now you have San Fran moving up. You had the whole Philly moving back, Miami moving up, Miami moving back. San Fran's now in the 3 spot. All right, so there's 3 big quarterbacks out there that everyone's talking about. There's the smoke and mirrors that they like Mac Jones. Mac Wilson. Yeah.
If San Fran moved up to take Mac Jones, I think that's insane.
So do I.
Because they probably could have got him where they were at.
I think so too. But here's the question I'm gonna propose is Atlanta for real when they say that they're taking offers on 4? Does that mean that because I mean they still have everyone they need. I mean it's too early to take a running back in that situation. Their offensive linemen, they have 5 first rounders and another first rounder on the bench waiting for someone to get hurt. For Atlanta sitting at number 4, what do you think would be the best possible scenario for them at 4, assuming the top 3 quarterbacks are off the board in Wilson, Fields, and Lawrence?
If I'm Atlanta there, I'm going to try to take as many offers as I can. If I can get a good deal, trade back. But if not, I'm probably going to go Kyle Pitts. Shoot for the moon.
That is probably
maybe get a tackle. If I guess Sewell will be there if there's 3 quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3. Get a tackle to protect Matt Ryan. Go for it this year. If not, get a quarterback next year. Maybe you get a developmental quarterback in like the 3rd round or something.
Atlanta's in such a tricky spot there at 4 because they're not a bad team. Their defense is trash. Again, it's that NFC South, but man, I mean, I just don't know which way Atlanta's going to go.
They could take best player available.
I think Atlanta still has. I think there's still another year or 2 left in Julio. You know, maybe not top 10 receiver, but he's still going to be as long as he's not re-upping his contract and they're spending more money than they already have. I almost think, you know, maybe like a defensive back, maybe a safety or a strong corner, get one of those young strong corners and try to keep up with the receivers. I mean, you're going to have Michael Thomas to deal with. You're going to have all of the Carolina Panthers receivers to deal with now. I mean, there's just a lot going on. Plus Tampa Bay. I mean, Tampa Bay, we just saw what they did. They brought everyone back but Antonio Brown, and I don't think the money's going to match up there. So you're looking at stud receivers in that whole division. So maybe defensive back is going to be the way to go and try to get out of that way because Atlanta is all over the place. I mean, their offense is still good. I mean, there's a question mark at running back with Gurley, but which way do you go? Abe, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think the best way to go there, honestly, is Micah Parsons. I like them going defense here at 4 overall. There's no need to go quarterback this early, right? Because you just redid Matt Ryan's contract, so he's got another couple of years there, 2-3 years there minimum, right? You can go Kyle Pitts and just really make that offense explode, kind of like what Dallas has been talking about, you know, how Jerry Jones is enamored by them. So, yeah, you can go Kyle Pitts. I understand that. You can go Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith and keep those guys in the southeast of the country and just ball out. You can't go Penei Sewell, but you've already invested a lot into your offensive line. Your defense is absolutely might be the worst in the NFL. Micah Parsons is a dog, right? That dude is, to me, he's like a Von Miller type. He can get to the pass. He can rush the passer. He can stop the run. He can play enough coverage against the running backs and tight ends if needed. And again, in the NFC South, and we talk about all these receivers, but there aren't really too many great tight ends in that division, right? So I think Micah Parsons is a perfect fit with Atlanta, and we're talking about a team that the first half of the year we're losing so many games by just a couple points, by getting beat in the last minute, and it deflates you as a team. Where the second half of the season, mentally, they're done already. They're just out, and it's very hard to come back from all those games later on in the year. Where now they're picking 4th overall because overall for the season they weren't very good, but in the first half of the season they weren't that bad. They were in every game. So you get a dog on the defensive side of the ball. The new coaching staff, that's going to help with all that clock management issues that they had early on. You lose games by 2-3 points. A lot of the, and a bunch of times in a row. A lot of that comes down to coaching. So I can see the new coaching staff winning a couple of those games for them there. Now all of a sudden you're a 7-win team right off the bat. Get a couple good defensive pieces, and I think Micah Parsons is that guy to build around.
Yeah, as an Eagles fan, I love the pick, but I absolutely hate it because I hope he falls to us at 12. Micah Parsons is a beast.
I can't see him getting past 7 to Detroit. I can't see that happening because he's a Campbell guy.
Honestly, it's a mistake if he does. That dude, he can play. And as a Penn Stater, it'd be cool to keep him in town, you know?
Yep. Yeah, I was hoping he fell to 17 for the Raiders, but I don't think that's
there's no way. If he's there at 12, I don't think he makes it past the Eagles. They've been missing a stud linebacker for a couple of years at least now. Singletary's good, and they just signed a guy, Eric Wilson, from the Vikings. He's a pretty good linebacker too, but they still need help.
So, as you guys know, we're in the middle of the off season. Draft's about to start. So, for the dynasty side of things, I know I'm currently in a startup right now where rookies are included, which adds a whole nother aspect into it because you don't even know where they're drafted yet. So, it takes a lot of research and possible landing spots that you think is going to happen as a draftee or a drafter. So that's a fun draft that I'm currently in. But the rest of us is going to wait. The majority of my drafts are going to be after after the draft. Abe, I know with redraft, you're almost into August. So the biggest thing here is, which way are you guys going to go? What do you prefer better? Do you prefer drafting knowing landing spots? I mean, Abe, I think this is an easy question for you. But Brett, what style of fantasy football do you like better? Are you a redraft, dynasty, best ball?
So I'm going to date myself a little bit here, but I've been playing fantasy football since we used to have to call in our teams on Friday night to the commissioner. He'd write down all the teams, keep scores by hand, wait for Monday morning for the paper to get the stats. It was before the internet was even around. Had to wait for Monday morning for all the stats to come out, add up all the stats by hand, and then call everybody back and tell them if they won or lost. So you didn't know if you won or lost on fucking Wednesday. It was the worst fucking thing ever.
All right.
So since then, it's been a while ago, but since then, over the past maybe 3 years, I guess I've been getting into Dynasty, and I'm still in a couple of redraft leagues, but they're home leagues that I've been in since, what I was just talking about pretty much. So I'm never going to leave those. But other than that, I'm not joining any more redraft leagues. They're for the birds. Dynasty all day. Superflex, I'm also a convert to Superflex man now, but I'll never join another single quarterback league again unless absolutely necessary.
Yeah,
I like the tight end premium. I like the multiple flexes, and I'm just starting to get into IDP. I joined my first IDP league last year, kind of just played it by ear, and but I love that shit. And digging deeper into it this year, trying to get more into IDP as we speak.
Yeah, I know. I've gotten to the point now where I'm in enough leagues where if I do too much, it's going to start to become a bill I got to keep track of yearly or monthly. So I like where I'm at with my amount of leagues, but every year I seem to if there's a league that folds, okay, I'll replace that league, but I won't really add a new league per se unless one folds. But I've gotten to the point where I'd like leagues that are off the wall. It makes you think. It's not, hey, it's your turn to pick. Oh, there's 5 guys on the board that I like. I'm going to pick one of those 5. I like leagues where it's point per carry or 6 points for a passing touchdown, but running backs get extra this, that, and another, or tight ends get this, that. First downs is a big one. I like first downs because now you're looking for possession receivers that also catch the ball but are go-to guys on 3rd and shorts and things like that, where you actually have to look at a little bit more
Cole
statistics.
Beasley.
Yeah, a little bit more statistics than just than just normal 5x5 statistics. But that's my preference. Everyone has their own. I joined one last year that was at 6 leagues in one. It's a guillotine league where the lowest scoring team every week gets knocked out. So it's a 12-team league. Every week the lowest scoring team gets knocked out. There's one team standing, right? That's guillotine league. Then there's a vampire league where one guy's a vampire, doesn't draft his team at all. And everybody else drafts, and he can only pick up from what's left over on the waiver wire, but nobody else can pick up waiver wire guys. So you end up with James Robinson and a bunch of guys like that. And if the vampire beats you, he gets to steal one of your guys from your starting roster. Which I think the vampire actually he won the league. Actually, I think last year. It's crazy. That's an awesome way to play too.
I'm in a league. I've been in this league. It's my home league. I've been in the league forever. 2 quarterback league. It's a 30-round draft, but you only are allowed 2 waiver additions the entire season.
Wow.
So there's a lot of strategy as to when you use those waiver additions and who to pick them up on. So a couple of years ago, I used mine to add Gardner Minshew because when you're in a quarterback league and you can't really add players, I mean, in the draft you're having 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string quarterbacks drafted because the quarterback position is so valuable. So I was able to take a guy like Gardner Minshew and then flip him, and right before he got benched and all that, and really able to exceed. I think I lost in the finals. I've had some terrible luck the last 2 years. I've been 4 championship games and lost them all. It's been rough. But I'm very basic. I'm big on my redraft. I have my one dynasty league that I do, and I kind of that's that way. It's like my one.
Is that the staff league?
No, it's a league I started last year, but like
Oh.
that's like my one team like that I can go forward with, because the hardest part.
Dynasty's the way to go. Dynasty's the way to go. It's year round. Redraft, you lose in the first round of the playoffs. You don't give a fuck about it for another 8 months or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Dynasty's the way to go.
It depends on, like, I'm in a redraft league where it's mostly the same people every year. So
yeah, that's cool.
If
your team's different.
Right, your team is different, but like if you come in 8th overall, right now you get the 8th choice of what pick you take next year. So like the winner gets to select where they choose, not necessarily the first overall pick, but they get the first choice of selection. And this way, throughout the entire season, it still stays competitive.
Yeah, any fantasy football is good football. I'm not.
Yeah, me too. I'm always willing to try something new. But that being said, this is the time, if your league's starting up now, if you guys are starting to get some dynasties going, if you're starting to prep and whatever for your home leagues, make sure you go swing over to TrophySmack.com. They sponsor every episode. Use code SQUIB. That's SQUIB. Get yourself a free championship ring with a purchase of any trophy or belt. It's awesome. It's a full-size championship ring. Flaunt it. Do whatever you want with it. There's things. I've been in leagues where, you could do either or. I joined a league where the winning team gets a ring, and I've joined a team everyone knows about the trophies when you win. Make it fun. Make it worth your while. It's free. It comes with the trophy. $59 value. Use code SQUIB. Give it to second place. They love that. You get that far and don't get anything, give it to second place. So awesome way all the way around there. Hey,
screw second place.
What?
Yeah, give me first place in the money. You can keep the trophy.
See, I'm the guy. I am the guy that, with having so many leagues, if there's ever a time where I am in the finals, I am almost 100% agreeing to a split the pot 40-40 and play for the other 20%.
Cool. Especially big stakes leagues.
Yep. I do that to pay for my whole season, and then the little ones I'll run out. But yeah, now everyone knows my trick. So
yeah, most teams are cool with that once you get that far. Yeah, and if you're playing for big money, you don't want to sweat over, a couple grand for like, oh, if this guy gets 3 yards, I win. If he gets stopped, I lose at the end of the game or something.
Yeah, especially coming down when people are sitting and you got that far, and it's just you got teams that are.
It's like hedge betting.
Yeah. Before we roll out of here, I guess we got a little down the way. I want to ask you guys one thing: what your opinion is. So it just got passed. We're switching to 17 game schedules now. What does that mean for fantasy? What does it mean for players? There's a few players. I know Alvin Kamara is one of them who's very upset because it's his profession, it's his body. That's what he does for a living. And, granted, yes, they will get an extra game check. Okay. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sure. That's a slap on the wrist to them. The NFL teams and owners are bringing in millions during this with TV contracts, with concessions, with ticket sales and merchandise. So what are your guys' thoughts on this change going back to 17 games a season, both as, fantasy relevance or take it whichever way you want, fantasy relevant, or what you see in players, or what you think this means for the future of football?
Go ahead, Abe. I got some strong thoughts on this. I'll let you go first.
Okay, because I fucking hate it. It's so bad. Like, none of these guys playing now have ever understood 17 game season, right? Like, no one likes change, although sometimes change works out for the better. Like in baseball, I never liked the DH, but now I'm starting to get more and more okay with it for the National League teams. None of these guys want the change, right? None of them want to go to 17 games. None of us fantasy players want to go to 17 games because we're so used to the whole 16 game outlook, right? We're used to week 16 championships. We're used to our stats and what it means to be a 1,000-yard receiver or a 1,000-yard rusher. What a 5,000-yard passer. Now you add a whole extra game. What does that mean for everybody? And all the guys in the league, they don't know what anything more than the 17 games, the 16 game season is, because it's last been changed since what, like 1970 something. None of these guys were alive then. So they want it just the way it was when they grew up. It's the same thing. So why change it? And the reason is because not because it is money, but not because like the owners want to make more. It's because they're cheap as fuck. Because they're paying the guys the same exact amount of money, but now they want extra labor. So imagine you were at work and your boss says, "Hey, I want you to come in on Saturday also. And by the way, I'm not giving you any more for showing up." It's the exact same thing that the NFL is going through right now. Like, yeah, they lost a preseason game. It's only 3 now. Who gives a damn? They're not playing in the preseason anyway. So
my boss does do that to me, and I'm completely fine with that because I'm salary, just like them.
You have to be fine with your salary.
Yep.
Did you sign a contract? You sign a contract saying that I'm going to work this, this, and this. Like if you signed your contract saying, "Yeah, I'm only working 5 days of the week," and then he tells you, "I need you to come in on a Saturday," right? You'd probably be pretty pissed about it. You're like, "Yeah, I understand it's my job.
They are getting paid. They are getting compensated.
I understand they're getting compensated and paid to do that, but you're told you're going to have to go to work 5 days a week, and now all of a sudden you got to show up at 6."
So
he said they get paid for 6, right?
Yeah, they'll get paid for that. They'll get it. They get an extra game check. But so being in a manager position, I am.
Each game is going to be divided into less.
So
they're not getting more money for the course of the season.
I don't know about this.
So if I have an employee that is working 5 days a week and we have work on Saturday and I force him to work on Saturday, his options are work or don't work. And you know what happens when you say no to when your boss says no, when your boss tells you to work and you say no. That's a quick one. So I mean, obviously there's players associations and there's unions in the NFL and all that goodness, but yeah, I don't see it as being bad per se. You know, I like the idea of 17-game schedule. It brings the fans into it. It brings everything else into it. These guys are getting paid astronomical amounts of money. You know, let it be the entertainment that it actually is. You know, it's just like anything else. I mean, when you're a rookie, you're forced to play all 4 spring training games. You're forced to spring training. Oh my goodness. You're forced to the 4 preseason games. You're forced into OTAs and rookie camps and all that stuff. And then once you become a veteran, you're a few years in, that becomes an option. All right. So it's no different to me than any of that. It's something that's going to have to change, and your body will get used to it because you are a professional making millions and millions of dollars to perform at a high level. So if we say, hey, you need to go out there and play for 4 quarters, or hey, it's like anything else. I mean, look at the games where you're up by 40 points. You know, and this is the conversations I have with my employees. Like, hey, we got done early today. Do you want me to take some of the money back that you're going to make for not working? You know what I mean?
I mean, for me, like you hit the nail on the head when you said it's entertainment. So I say add another week to the year. Let's get 53 weeks in the year, 53 games. Let's get games every day, get more teams, more players, whatever the hell you got to do. I want football every day, 24/7, live games. Let's go.
Yeah, that's
why
pay
the players, compensate the players for how many games they play, whatever. I'm not saying short the players. The owners make enough money. The NFL makes enough money. Make sure the players are happy, obviously. You know, and the NFLPA's got to sign the deal or whatever. But
all these players sign their contracts with a 16-game schedule in mind, right?
That is true.
They all sign, so that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like, oh, now they have to go to work, so they're not going to show. Of course, they're going to show up. They're going to do their job. But you're told one thing. You signed a contract to do one thing. Now, if you signed your contract, Steve, saying I only have to show up days 1 through 5, and that's on paper, that is your legally binding contract, right? And then they say, oh, I need you to come in on day 6 also. You'd be
isn't that what the playoffs is?
Not even that. But it is exactly the same because they're not turning around and saying, hey, they're not saying, hey, Abe, I need you to come work this day without telling you anything. Hey, this is what we're going to do. No, this went to their representative, the players union, the NFLPA. It went through all of that. So this wasn't hey, this is what you're going to do. This was an offer put on the table that was agreed by both sides.
I just don't agree with it.
What about get rid of preseason? Have one preseason game and then add a couple more games to the regular season. Everybody's happy.
See, the Players Association would never be okay with that because you have guys that are on the back end of the roster making the team for the first time. And so you need those preseason games to see who those guys are.
I think it's going to
extra
be
training
very,
camp. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be
Nobody
very
wants to watch
interesting
preseason
going
games.
forward. I don't know. It's going to be very forward. As a fan, I'm going to love it. Having that extra week of football on top of everything, expand the playoffs, expand everything, get those high leverage games. Let's do it. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. That's what a lot of people, I assume, want to see as well. I
wish there was football year round, man.
Yeah, maybe it would be different for me if I was an athlete making millions of dollars and I have my body on the line and my age and my family at home. I'm not in that mindset, and I'm not going to speak for them. I'm going to speak for me sitting here, my fat ass on this couch, and they're going to say, hey, you get paid.
For everybody. Fucking idea.
Fair enough. Fair enough. No, but no, it was awesome. No, awesome time. I think we nailed a few things on the head. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on before we roll out of here? Is there anything that we missed or anything that you think would spark another conversation?
As an Eagles fan, what do you think about Tua? Real deal or what? Obviously, they traded back. They're probably not taking a quarterback this year. He's got a year at least to prove himself. I think he can be good, man. He showed out at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think Tua is one of those quarterbacks where it sucks. He was a huge time prospect coming out. Everything was going on. He got hurt with that serious injury to his hip coming out at the end of the season. But in this day and age, with every person, every player, everything you're talking about, you're always getting compared to someone else. And it sucks because you had the three quarterbacks come out last season in Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, and Tua Tagovailoa, where they're going to be compared the rest of their careers no matter what because they were drafted together. And Joe Burrow was on a tear before he went down with his injury. Then you had Justin Herbert who just balled out. You have Tua. All three of those guys aren't going to develop at the same rate, and obviously you see Tua is not. Whether it was the coaching staff, the decision making, the players in front of him, the veterans in front of him that were still owed the respect to play because they were still putting up decent numbers. Ryan Fitzpatrick, so there's a lot of things that I think could be changed. It's just let the players develop. I do think Tua will be an outstanding quarterback. He was not the top quarterback for me personally, ranking those three. He was actually number 3 out of those guys. But I do think players develop at different rates, and we, the people who sit on the outside, need to understand that. It's tough as a fan when you see Burrow and Herbert succeeding in what they did and Tua kind of getting benched halfway through a game and all that scenario that happened in Miami, but they were winning games, and that's what they care about down there. So let him develop, get a full season under him with the starters and the team won, and that's my take on Tua.
Yeah, I like Tua as well. I think he's in the same boat with CEH, where these guys came out with such high expectations, especially at fantasy. They were both top 5 picks at least in every draft, super flex wise, and Tua didn't play bad, and they got him good weapons this year. Last year, what's his name was hurt. Preston Williams was hurt. Devontae Parker was all right, but whatever. Gesicki was in and out. He was good. But this year they got the 6th pick.
Don't be hating on Mike Gesicki. That's my guy. Mike Gesicki.
No, I like Gesicki. But I'm saying there's games where he got 3 targets. You know what I'm saying? He's your number 1 receiving option and your best offensive player, and you're throwing the ball to him 3 times. Like, that's another team that should be better with better play calling and better coaches this year. But they also have the number 6 pick, which will probably be whatever receiver they want, or Pitts, which is going to help too a lot. And they signed my boy Will Fuller, who, especially for fantasy, if he's not healthy, if he is healthy and they're not suspended, get him in there.
By his proper name, please call him by his proper name.
What is it?
Will Haffer, because my man only plays in half his game or half.
Yeah, but he'll score 100% of the points in those half of games.
Yep. All right, guys, we're going to snake on out of here. I got work here soon. It's starting to storm. The dogs are going crazy. Brett, it was awesome having you on. I hope we can have you back soon.
Absolutely,
Abe,
anytime. Thanks for having me.
Abe, it's always a pleasure. We'll be live again, Tuesday night?
Every Tuesday night.
And who do we have on? Who's on the docket for this Tuesday?
let's take a little look see at our calendar. This week we got Matt Donnelly from the Dynasty Vipers, followed by Nick from PW. We got Laquan Jones. We got Sal Leto. We got Laura Carpenter. We got Scott Simpson. We got Michelle Majuk. We got Victoria from the Ball Blast. And then for our division breakdowns, we've already booked and scheduled Dave Kluge coming back, Troy King coming back. Like it's if you're not listening to our show yet, we do not allow bandwagoners. So get in now or get in never.
I love it. A lot of big guests coming up as well. DFS docket, the other half of the Sideline Squib live every Tuesday. We'll be back next Saturday. Make sure to give a follow and check out at 1T Bret. Open 24 hours and give Bret a follow. 24 hours of content coming out.
Hell yeah.
So I appreciate it, guys, and we'll see you next week on the Sideline Squib.